You've heard that the most dangerous part of a flight is the drive to the airport, right? Well, let me tell you, the airplane peanuts beg to differ. It's a well-known fact that airplane food is the butt of many a joke. But have you ever considered the sheer resilience of those tiny, salty snacks they hand out mid-flight? I mean, those peanuts have survived high altitudes, turbulent weather, and the crushing might of a hydraulic press, only to emerge victorious as a stubbornly inedible lump. It's like they've been subjected to their own little airplane crash and lived to tell the tale. Now that's some serious survival skills. But let's be honest, those peanuts are so tough, they could probably survive a black hole. They've got the density of a neutron star, the hardness of a diamond, and the taste. Well, let's just say they're not winning any Michelin stars anytime soon. It's like they're the Chuck Norris of the snack world. Invincible, indestructible, and inexplicably popular. And speaking of airplane crashes, wait, don't change the channel, we're not going all Final Destination on you. This is a safe space, a place where we can laugh in the face of danger and maybe learn a thing or two while we're at it. You see, just like those peanuts, we're all about survival here. It's just that our approach is a tad bit more digestible. We're not suggesting you turn into a superhuman snack, but we are going to give you some tips and tricks on how to survive the most extraordinary of circumstances. So buckle up, sit back, and relax. This is going to be a fun ride. And remember, if you can handle those airplane peanuts, you're already one step ahead in the survival game. Because let's face it, if you can survive the airplane peanuts, you're already well prepared for an airplane crash. Ever thought you'd be doing yoga at 35,000 feet? Well, brace positions are pretty much just that. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yoga, in the middle of a plane crash? You've got to be kidding me. But hear me out, it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. In fact, brace positions during a crash are strikingly similar to some of the poses you'd do in a yoga class. Just imagine your yoga instructor's soothing voice guiding you through the poses, only with a little more turbulence and a slightly more alarming sense of urgency. Brace positions are designed to minimize impact injuries, and they're not just for show. They might look like you're trying to imitate a pretzel, but they can actually increase your chances of surviving a crash. It's all about protecting your vital parts from injury and reducing the risk of being knocked unconscious, which is pretty important if you want to get off the plane afterwards. So, how do you do it? Well, each airline has its own specific brace position, but they all have a lot in common. It's a bit like the child's pose in yoga, but with a few tweaks. You're hunched forward, head down, arms protecting your noggin. The idea is to make yourself as small as possible and reduce the space between you and the seat in front of you. This helps to prevent your head from swinging forward and hitting the seat in a crash. The good news? You don't need to be a yoga master to nail these poses. But don't forget, practice makes perfect. So next time you're on a flight, why not give it a go? Just make sure to explain to your fellow passengers that you're not trying to start an impromptu yoga class, unless they're up for it, of course. And if you feel a little silly doing it, just remember, it's better to look a little foolish now than to miss out on the chance to tell the tale later. And who knows, maybe you'll discover a new passion for high-altitude yoga. Remember folks, airplane crashes are no excuse to skip your daily stretch. Scene script. Who knew that dressing for a flight was like preparing for a fashion show, only the runway is potentially on fire? Now you might be thinking, I just want to be comfortable. But let's face it folks, survival is never in vogue. I mean, do you really want to be the one running from a flaming wreckage in flip-flops and a polyester onesie? I didn't think so. Let's talk fabrics. You might be tempted to go for that synthetic blend because, hey, it's wrinkle-free and you want to look fresh when you land. But here's the thing, synthetic fabrics like polyester and nylon melt. That's right, they melt! Imagine strutting down the fiery runway with your clothes turning into a molten second skin. Not exactly the fashion statement you want to make. Instead, opt for natural fibers like cotton, wool, or even silk. Not only do they make you look like you've just stepped off a Parisian runway, but they also resist catching fire. Now that's what we call haute couture. Moving on to footwear, we all know the stiletto is the epitome of fashion, but unless you plan on using your heels as makeshift weapons, they're not going to do you much good in an emergency. Instead, think sturdy, think practical. Think about something you can run, jump, and possibly wade through flaming debris in. A good pair of leather shoes or boots can be your best friend in a crisis. They're not just runway ready, they're runway survival ready. And let's not forget accessories. Scarves and bandanas can be fashion forward, but they can also double as smoke masks, tourniquets, or even a sling if you need one. Who knew survival could be so chic? So the next time you fly, remember it's survival chic, not beach chic. You know that dance you do when you can't decide who should go first at a stop sign? That's how not to do the oxygen mask routine. Imagine you're at a four-way stop sign and everyone is waving each other through. It's a polite standoff, but no one's going anywhere fast. Now imagine that at 35,000 feet in the air. Not a pretty sight, right? Here's the thing. The oxygen mask drop is not the time for a you first, know you first scenario. This isn't a dinner party where you're trying to offer the last piece of pie to everyone else at the table. And it's definitely not the time to channel your inner superhero and try to save everyone else before yourself. Think of it as a game of musical chairs. When the music stops, you don't hesitate. You don't look around to see who else needs a chair. You plop your derriere down as if it's on fire and the chair is a bucket of water. That's how you should treat the oxygen mask drop. When the masks drop, you don't hesitate. You don't look around to see who else needs a mask. You grab that mask and strap it on like your life depends on it. Because, well, it kinda does. And remember, this is not a time for vanity. No one cares if the mask messes up your hair or smudges your makeup. There's no blue steel pose that's going to make securing an oxygen mask look glamorous. So forget about your selfie game and focus on the survival game. So let me paint you a picture. The masks drop. You're startled, but you remember this video. You reach up, grab your mask and secure it on your face all in one swift motion. You then turn to the person next to you, who's still in shock and trying to decide whether they should go first. You help them with their mask. You've just done the oxygen mask waltz. So when the masks drop, do the oxygen mask waltz. 1, 2, secure your own mask first. Exiting an airplane during a crash isn't like leaving a boring party. There's no time for long goodbyes. Now I know we've all been in those social situations where we're trying to find the quickest escape route. Maybe it's your third cousin's wedding, a dull office meeting, or a surprise visit from your in-laws. But exiting an airplane mid-crisis is not the time to be polite. You see, unlike at your cousin's wedding where you can sneak out the back door, in an airplane you've got to be strategic. You can't just yell fire and watch the chaos ensue. As much as it might tickle your funny bone, it's not the best idea. So what's the plan? Well, first things first, don't forget to look before you leap. And by that, I mean check the exit before you bolt. If there's smoke billowing in from the left, you might want to reconsider your exit strategy. Next, remember the golden rule of egress. Time is of the essence. You don't have the luxury to stop and chat or to check if you've left your phone behind. If you're imagining a heroic slow-motion run to the exit, let me burst your bubble. This isn't a Hollywood blockbuster. It's more like a frantic run on a Black Friday sale. And finally, be prepared to get physical. You might have to wriggle, crawl, or even slide your way out. It's a bit like playing Twister, but with higher stakes. So limber up and get ready to make your move. But remember, just like in any awkward social situation, panicking won't help. Keep your cool, follow the instructions, and make your way to the exit. Remember folks, when the plane's having a rough day, it's your cue to exit stage left or right or whichever is closest.